everybody, and another Friday rolls around, and here we all are in the high-tech studio. As you can see, that's been brought back online again. I started this week's comments with a comment from David Bellani. Don't know if you'll believe this. David's not been well, it's been a COVID issue, and he said, in the end I had to go to hospital from where I'm writing this. My gosh, David, blimey. So I passed a couple of bad nights, but I'm now starting to get better, I hope. Well, we all hope so as well, David. There has to be a first, a comment from a hospital bed. Blimey, what next? But I don't know what's going on out there with you lot, because Simon's recovering from COVID. You've got Peter Smith who's got a torn tendon. You've got Trev Joyce who's got cracked ribs. What are you doing out there? What's going on? Right, so the vlog then. Last vlog, we had a film club tour around Withington, the railway and whatnot. Martin Hall comments, if only the railway was still in place. What a wonderful train journey that would be. All those lovely little stations we would see, all now gone, now just a memory. True, Martin. And Maurice Mannion says, I second the comment. If only the railway was still in place. It's so sad that some of these lovely railway lines were mothballed for a time when they might be viable again, instead of just pulling everything up. Why did they pull it all up? Surely it was cheaper just to leave it there and walk away, wasn't it? Did they make their money back from scrap rail and use sleepers? Anybody know? Interesting. Pete Payne, Friday mornings and that YouTube notification. Love your attention to detail, not just the railway stuff, even the little things. Love the sound of the rooks getting ready for spring. Then he says, right, off into the mud with the dog. I'm not sure if that's you or the dog getting in the mud there, Peter. Probably both. Yes. Jim Nichols, thank you for another great video. Lovely village, beautiful scenery, interesting artifacts, diverse wildlife. Well, a pheasant and some chickens. I think Jim's expecting herds of wildebeest sweeping majestically across the plain, as per Basil Fawlty. Sorry about that, Jim. Michael from Poland says, Ron, greetings from Poland. Lovely to catch up with fellow Parkinsons Walks family members while sitting in your film studio, in brackets garden shed. Yeah, we do love our Parkinsons family. You guys, brilliant. Well done. Simon, the hairy golfer. You knew we wouldn't get very far before Simon popped up. He's talking about his layout. He's building a railway layout, which he's going to film and share with us later on. He said the layout will have viaducts, bridges, tunnels, and I will of course be asking you to comment on the construction of the brickwork. So I have bought thousands of little split sleeper fence posts for you to inspect. Brilliant. Yeah, well done. We hope to see all that up and running then in the new year, hopefully. Simon actually shares his birthday with Isambard Kingdom Brunel. So we're expecting big things from you, Simon. He said, I'm building this in our spare bedroom now that the eldest has moved out. I thought I would fill it before my wife did. You know women can't abide an empty space. Simon, you well know you've got no chance, mate. You don't go in there for a couple of days and you wander along, there'll be great piles of washing on it and artifacts and bits and pieces, bits of this and bits of that. You've got no chance at all. Rodney Masters. Good morning, Ron. I reckon this is Major Green's best and most accurate circular walk from his railway books. Yeah, I struggle a bit with him, I have to say. I've done some of the walks out of his book, but he does tend to be a bit vague here and there and leaves you in the middle of nowhere wondering, so I haven't completed them by any means. Andrew Merriman. As so often these days, the comments were really interesting and so varied, weren't they just? Had it not been for the rise of the motor car in the 1950s and 60s, that line might still be in use today. What a sight you would have had from the carriage window of a passenger train, going from embankment to cutting, back to embankment again, and some lovely vistas as well. That would have been beautiful, wouldn't it? Michael Miller. I have a railway layout. Ah, good. Another one out to the woodwork. Good. It occupies one room in my house. It's called Cold Harbour. It's based on South London in June 1949 with Southern Electric, steam and underground trains. Wow, I bet you spend many hours delightfully moving all that stuff around and running trains to schedule, hopefully. Hopefully. Brilliant. Well done. James Weeks. James. He said, like you, I've always favoured the sneak around the outside method for dealing with mud patches, although I never knew that's what it's officially known as. Seems like I was taking the mickey out of James for his homesickness. He hasn't forgiven me yet. There's more there to read from James for you fans. Sumac MacArthur, who is of course the channel mascot. Morning, Sumac. I was out in a small forest today near here. It's unseasonably warm and I went swimming in a stream. I was quite clean until I ran through a mud patch. Why would I want to stick to the edge? I think James might better answer that for you, Sumac. He's the one that has to clean up. Trev Joys, our crack ribs Trev. The MSWJ, Midland South Western Junction Railway, was one of those survivors in the West that managed to get all the way to the grouping in 1923 without being plundered by the GWR. Yeah, they take everything over, don't they? It finally succumbed in 1923 at the grouping of practically all the British railways into the Big Four. The GWR got it in the end. If you're researching railways in this area, the GWR got everything. They're very, very astute business people, I think. Brilliant. Now here's unusual from Sharon Idle. We know, like our Sharon, the start of said line is where it branches off from the still in use line at Andover in Hampshire. In fact, the first part of that line, from the west of Andover as far as Ludgershaw, is still in use by the military as far as Ludgershaw Station, where the track terminates at buffers in a small yard. And she then goes on to describe the rest of the line in detail as well. Brilliant work, Sharon. You're a woman of mystery without a shadow of a doubt. Well done, thanks for that. Carl Sturgis. I walked that line when I was 15 back in 1979. We decided to walk from Kemble back home to Hertfordshire using just disused railways. Beautiful countryside around Chedworth, and walked the tunnel there. From Kemble to Hertfordshire on disused railways. Wow. Well, you ought to write a book on that, Carl, because that sounds like book material to me. Peter Smith. All that effort for such a relatively short time in existence. Yeah, oh, beautiful bridges they had there, embankments, cuttings. Oh well. Seeing the mill inn reminded me that in the early 1960s it was one of the first, if not the first, to serve food with one's drink. That is something extra to a bag of crisps, or if you were lucky, a pickled egg. I remember those. Their speciality was chicken in the basket. Yeah, they were famous for it. Can't be many people around here that didn't end up there one time or another. It was such well-known treat to go out and have chicken in the basket. Wow. Oh, God. Simon, the hairy golfer, agrees. The mill at Withington. We used to go there when I was a child. Stop showing off, Simon. A summer evening, the babbling brook and chicken and chips in the basket. I wonder if they still do that. I didn't look at the menu, so I can't answer that, Simon. I remember taking my now wife out for the day to Burford Wildlife Park and stopping in there on the way back for the evening. It obviously worked a treat, as we will have been married for 29 years in the spring. Congratulations to you both. Well done. Right, the film last week was Abergavenny Station. That's piqued a bit of interest too, I'm glad to say. Michael from Poland. Greetings from Poland. What an interesting station. So many lovely old bits and pieces to be seen. I'm looking forward to reading all the comments from our Parkinsons Walks family experts, and there's quite a few of them, and they're well worth reading. Well done. I just summarise on here. If you want to have a good read, guys, get in the comments. Peter Smith. He said you had a field day. What with vintage railings, latchwork, fence posts and the supports of the station seat. Stay well and safe, he says. Although I'm a fine one to advise anybody with my busted tendon. Yes, yes. Heal thyself. Jim Nichols. When I was young, an impossibly long time ago, don't hear anybody arguing, Jim. He says, trains used to go clickety-clack as they moved over the sections of rail. Then everything got welded up and no more clicking and clacking, which I thought was a pity. Yeah, I bet most of us on here would like to go back to the old clickety-clack, because if you go on to the preserved railways, the heritage railways, a lot of those are going for welded track as well, so don't even get on there. Right, vintage trains and abandoned railways are on. We've been having a little bit of a to and fro conversation, and I wondered if Ron had caught this last weather window, because we've had filming weather which has been a bit scarce just lately. I managed to get out and do a quick piece, but unfortunately Ron says no. I was jet washing about 150 plus slabs outside the wife's office in Chipping Norton. Crike. That kept you out of mischief for a while. Lovely. Markham Richardson nicely observed details of an old station, many of which I missed when I last visited about a decade ago. Go back and have another look, Markham, see if it's changed from what you remember. Yeah, wow. Brilliant. Trev Joyce. I'm amazed at how many things you found from days gone by without the help of a wild boar. Trev thinks I should have a boar to go unearthing things since they're very good at rooting about. I don't think so. You should have you ever thought of becoming a detective? No, not really. And Trev then goes on to describe some of the bits and pieces to do with Abergavenny Station. Good read. Get in there and have a look. David Berlani. David then. He's out of hospital. I love the appearance of the semaphore signals. It makes it seem like a proper railway. I must confess I don't fully understand their meaning. A bit of searching required, I think. And yeah, he's gone into the technical booklets to find out not only what's on and what's off with the signal, but you've got home and outer home and all the rest of them. You start in signals, you got all that lot. He said, I got back home from hospital yesterday, still testing positive and absolutely worn out, but we're on the road to recovery. Good. My wife's slowly getting better and her sister as well. Crikey, you had the whole family down with it. That must have been grim. I've been cheering myself up watching Simon's golfing videos. Yeah, they're a good watch, aren't they, Simon's golfing videos? And he has one of these things that follows the trajectory of the ball. And that was some description. Quite fascinating, I find. And on that sort of thing, Lionel and Mary Travels, Lionel's put up another video on a ploughing match. And in this one he describes what he knows about the ploughing methods, the ploughing machinery, a few of the tractors. It's very, very interesting to listen to somebody that knows what they're talking about, and Lionel certainly knows what he's talking about. Get and have a look. Brilliant. Andrew Merriman. Well, Ron said, I'm watching your video for a second time. I thought for a change I would fill in some of the gaps for you as it rolls along. And then he goes on to describe the building at 3 minutes 26 seconds. What Andrew's done is put the timings in, and you'll see them in his comments highlighted in blue. If you click on those, it'll take you straight to the piece in the video that he's talking about, which are brilliant. Well done, Andrew. Yeah, and there's a very good read in there as well then. Pete Payne. He said, it's good to see some interesting items still in place. The little hut is probably a lamp hut. Yes, of course, it's not big enough to be a plate-layers hut, is it? It's a lamp hut. And Norris Kiddle said it was a lamp hut as well, a signal lamp hut. Yeah, thanks to you too. A few other people mentioned it as well. Now, Railway Christina. Our Christina then. Is that an original J.J. Stevens semaphore signal? I don't know, but hopefully somebody does. The GWR design is the prettiest, she says. The station was designed by Charles Liddell, the uncle of Alice, the original Alice in Wonderland. Well, I'm blown. Would you ever have thought it? Amazing. Well done. Thanks for that, Christina. You're a little angel. Right, Film Club today. We'll take a look at autumn. Albeit it wasn't this autumn, but never mind. We got autumn coming through, so for us it's what's to come. For you lot down in the southern hemisphere, Of course, you're on your way to spring, aren't you? Yeah, oh, lucky you. Right, so that's autumn, take a look at that. And then next week's film, Morton in the Marsh Revisited. Except it's not really. It's a good start, isn't it? It's actually just one of the stations on the way. So I did the film on Morton in the Marsh to Shipston on Stour, go back a little while. And amongst the comments, Duncan from Connection 500 pointed out that there are still the remains of a platform which you can just about make out at Longdon, which is Darlingscott area. So I thought, well, I better go back and take a look at that then before Ron from the Abandoned Railways and Vintage Trains gets in there and beats me to it. Got you beat, Ron. Yes, so I went in there and filmed that. I had a good route around in the typical Parkinsons Walks fashion. You'll find this one. So I hope you're going to enjoy it. So I think we'll probably all meet at Morton, then we'll go on to Longdon Station from there. So I'll see you there next Friday. Don't be late. This is autumn creeping up on us. Have a quick look in the garden, then we'll go for a walk. We'll start by wandering down here, and then we'll go and hunt out one of our favourite paths. Well, I hope you enjoyed that little ramble about. If you did, join me on the next one.